Guys, I love knives, but I like special purpose knives a lot of times, especially tactical knives that you can use for a lot of different things. And when you get to this really flat point, this really makes it a nice pry bar, an axe, a hatchet, a great field tool, but also perfect for urban situations. And we're going to take a look at 4 different versions of this type or this style knife, and just to see if this is something, because to me this is an excellent urban survival tool. And this is the BK K-Bar collaboration BK-3. But we have some others that we want to look at as well, because I've really been on a quest to find the ultimate urban survival kit. And so I think having one of these, and we'll look at them, I think it's going to be an excellent addition to your go bag. Guys, when it comes to prepping and survival, there's a lot of different information out on the web, and it takes a lot to try to find and source what's credible and what's not. One of the best sources that I know is Survival Dispatch Insider. They use some of the top names in the survival community that come together, and it is really just one of the best resources on the web. We upload one video that is exclusive to the Insider every week, and we're just glad to be a part. I'm going to have a link down below in the description. I think it's well worth checking out. Guys, the tactical urban knife has really become popular for a lot of different reasons. And, you know, one of the things that it's known for is just having this flat front. And this is really made for prying, for getting into places. You know, you can use this for a number of different things. And these are the ones that I found. There are some more out there, but I bought most of these off of eBay. But a lot of these are forced entry tools. Law enforcement uses these kind of tools. A lot of emergency services also, to be able to get into cars, getting through locks, things like that. And so while most of these are really kind of designated more for an urban environment, they can be used in a rural or suburban environment as well. And so I think this is a viable thing to look at for your go bag or your bug out bag. Now, this is the knife that kind of got me started on this quest. This is actually from a battle box. You can get it at battlebox.com. It came in one of the boxes, and it got me to thinking. Steel has a anodized finish on it. It is 1074 steel. And so this is actually called the QAB, for quick access breacher bar. It's a fairly small, short, 9 inches overall in length, 4-inch blade, and the spine is 1/8 of an inch, which is pretty impressive. I mean, that's a pretty impressive size here. And it's going to allow you to be able to really get into certain areas to, you know, to pry and to do things. But out of the whole bunch, this is the smallest. And it does have, at the pommel, it does have this little sharp tip. It does not come with a sheath, but there is no edge on this blade. I mean, it's more of a pry bar than anything else. A sheath is not necessary, but it would have been nice. Now, these are made in the USA, and on BattleBox they're about $64.99. Next, we have the Becker BK3. This is a collaboration between Becker and K-Bar knives, and this is a good solid blade. It's a 7-inch blade. It's a 1/4 inch thick. I mean, look how thick that thing is. It's 1095 carbon steel. And this is what they call the jail door opener. This is a hacker. It's a chopper. It weighs 18.8 ounces, so it's really hefty. Overall, it's 12.3 inches in length. These are made in the USA. It does have a seatbelt cutter right here. Not super sharp, and we'll look at that a little bit more. And then, of course, we have a pommel that's more like a hammer or impact tool. Nice, you know, kind of plastic or polymer type grips. It has a nice sheath. It's Kydex. There's a multiple attachment points you can use, but it does have a belt loop with a secure point. And then, of course, when you put it in, there's actually a secure right here. You just take and push up. So it locks in pretty nice. It does have a powder coat finish, and again, BK3. Now, next on the list, we have the Ontario Knives SP-8. This is a very large knife. It's called their Survival Machete. It's 1095 carbon steel. It has a short saber grind, and it is full tang. It does have serrations on the top for a saw, and this again is really thick as well. This is really great for chopping, and the saw blade is mainly for precise notching. It's not really going to be a great saw like cutting into wood. The tip of the blade is sharpened all the way around, but of course you can use this as a pry bar, as a digger, and we'll look at that in just a few minutes. It's about 15 inches in length. It's 10 inches here, but it's about 7.5 inches in the blade, in the sharpness. And so it's a really large, hefty knife. Again, it weighs 23.2 ounces. So this is a big knife and very capable. Made in the USA. I found these, retail $79, but I found them for $51.97. And we have just a Cordura type sheath with MOLLE attachments and a little guard here to hold it into place. Sheath is okay. I'm not really a big fan of this Cordura, but for this large of a blade, it seems to work okay, and you have tie downs right here. There is a polymer insert in the sheath, so it's going to help protect the sheath. Last on the list, and certainly not the smallest, is the Camillus Carnivore. This is a titanium bonded blade, which according to Camillus, it makes it 3.5 times stronger than your normal steel. This is really more considered a machete, even though it does have a prying bar area here that is not sharpened. And so I wanted to add this into the list. To be honest with you guys, it's a much thinner blade, and being so long, I don't really think this is going to make a good pry bar, but I felt like it fell into this same category. It's 18.25 inches in total length. The blade is 12 inches. It has 4 3/4 inches serration right here, which is a nice saw area, and then the blade is 7 inches right here. It's made from 420 stainless steel, but again, it does have the titanium bonding. And then it has a seatbelt cutter, which is not very sharp as well. Rubberized handles, and it does come in a number of different colors. This is actually very comfortable. It does have a lifetime warranty, and that's good because from all the reviews I've seen, these blades are prone to break. $24.92 was the price I paid for this, and it's definitely imported. Camillus does make a number of their knives here in the US. This was not on the list. The sheath is some sort of Cordura. It does have Velcro attachments here, and then a belt loop. I can tell you right now, guys, we put a lot of pressure on this one, it will break. But we're going to go out and test it out. Now we're going to start things out with a little bit of cardboard, just very light. And this is the QAB from Ontario Knife. Now this does not have an edge, so obviously we're not going to get anything here. If we kind of came in like this, we could possibly pierce. But again, this is not made really for anything but really prying and an entry tool. The Becker BK3, not a problem. Man, that is... Here we have the SP-8 Ontario knives. Wow. That's sharp. Now the front of this is sharpened. Just the sheer weight of this knife adds a lot to being able to cut through this. Now let's try the Carnivore. That's pretty sharp. Right out of the ballpark. And of course this end is not sharp, even folded over. Yeah, that's coming out pretty sharp. So guys, if you need to cut cardboard, 3 out of 4. Now let's go with some light feathering. Of course, with the Ontario QAB, there's no blade, so you're not going to get that. With the Becker BK3, we have serrations here, so we're going to have to use just this area right up here. See if we can get a little feathering. We can do it because it's so far out. Makes it a little difficult, but we're still getting some decent feathering for fire starting. I'll say that when you're putting it across here, it's not getting a lot of traction, it doesn't feel like. And then we can use the serrations. The actual serrations actually will do quite a bit as far as getting shavings off. We're going with the Ontario SP-8. It's got this little choil right here so I can get up close. You can get the feathering. The problem is right back here you've got these serrations on the top, or this sawtooth, and it makes it a little uncomfortable. But for more delicate tasks, I think you can stand that, you can do it. Yeah, this to me would wear my arm out in a hurry. I mean, I'm having to really grab it. It's large and heavy. It'll do it, but this is not the best for feathering. Now when it comes to the Carnivore, again, we've got this sawtooth coming here. We could possibly get some of that feathering right here. It's really probably the best, because once you get out here, you're going to lose some leverage, and this blade is so long. but it'll do it. You get your thumb behind it. So it's possible to make some fire tinder with these knives, but this is not a great option for that, and they're not really made for that. As far as the pry bar goes, this is what this is really made for, the Ontario QAB. Yeah, that's pretty strong. Let's check out the BK3 Becker K-Bar. It gives you enough tip. Oh yeah. Now I'll tell you one thing, guys, if you haven't seen it, they go through and completely destroy a Dodge Omni with one of these, and it was a couple of firefighters. It's pretty impressive. I'll have the link above in an annotation. But this tool is definitely up to a lot. And then we got the SP-8. Yeah, again, guys, the weight on this thing is just, it can't help but come off. Now when it comes to the Carnivore, you're going to be able to do some things. I just have a feeling that this blade is going to be a little wonky. We're going to take the SP-8 and try this saw blade. Yeah, it doesn't cut very fast, but if you need precision cuts for notching, yeah, you can get it down there, make it pretty precise. We just have some blade serrations on the BK3. They'll cut a notch, but it's not super. And we have the Carnivore. We can cut it. We're going to have to cut some limbs to find out what this is about. If you hold down on the limb, it frees it up enough to where you can actually use it. So we cut through it pretty good. Let's do some batoning. We got the BK3 we're going to start out with. Good to go. Ontario Knives SP-8. Just the sheer weight of this blade. Yeah, this can definitely do any batoning that you have. Let's just see what it'll do with this. All right, got through it. Wow, pretty impressive. And this is good hardwood. It is dried and it is hard. Ain't no way I'm trying it with this. Now we got some kindling. We have some saplings here that have grown up, and they've grown up pretty quick. And if you complain about me cutting down live trees, guys, you just don't own property. Because if you do, trees take over. Yeah, that was pretty quick. We have the Becker BK3. Okay, capable. Didn't have quite the heft of the SP-8, but a little bit more mobile. The Ontario Knives Q.A.B, no go, no blade. On the Camillus Carnivore, there we go. Not bad cutting ability. I didn't really expect that. One thing though, again, guys, is you bend this blade, you're just not really going to want to do a lot of prying with this. Really, as far as quickness of cutting through those limbs, I would say that these are pretty well matched. The SP-8, a little heavier, so it makes it quicker. But this Carnivore from Camillus actually did very well. As far as cutting back brush, the Camillus Carnivore was definitely way superior. Cuts really well, cuts really sharp. Even that little hook, you can bring things back and cut them, or at least get them out of the way. And so I really like this from Machete. The SP-8, super heavy. I mean, it'll cut because it's just big. I mean, it just bowls through. But you're not going to be able to cut long with this. It's really heavy, much heavier than the Carnivore. We gave the BK-3 a shot just for fun, and it was not a lot of fun. I mean, it's short, it's not really made for cutting back brush. You can, and it did cut back some brush, but it's going to take you an extra long time. Be better off to have a Machete separately if you're carrying this. The Ontario QAB, no go. BK-3, Ontario Knives SP-8. This thing is a beast. This SP-8 will go through it, but it is heavy, and if you're lifting it up over your head, it doesn't take long to really get worn out. Camillus Carnivore. Yep. Yeah, this is definitely one of the best. Sometimes you need an entrenching tool. Is this a digger? I mean, this makes it a lot better than a standard knife. The BK-3. Yeah. I mean, we could dig a hole with this thing. Great thing is about this little cutter is if you get a root, you can just pull it around. Get those roots out of the way. The SP-8, this thing about replace a shovel. Carnivore, yeah, it'll do it. It's a little thinner, so it actually cuts down into the ground. So all three of these would be diggers. SP-8. BK-3. Man, that's good. Carnivore. Now the reason why we're not able to cut through it is there's no sharp edge right here on the end. So it's just blunt and it's just denting it. Then we have the Ontario QAB. What I'm gonna do is go from an angle, see if I can hit it this way. Nope. See if I can hit it from the, there we go. If you get it from this angle right here, it'll go through. Let's try the Carnivore that way. Okay, we're going through. We have a Seatbelt cutter here. Let's see, we've got some standard paracord. It's not pulling through. There it goes. You have to wiggle it to get it to come through. And we're going to try the Carnivore. There we go. Same thing. You just got to wiggle it a little bit, but it did cut through it. Let's take the SP-8 right here. We're going to bring it out. Now, this is against a tree, and it will not bend this tree. But we're going to see how strong it is. Okay, I've got all my weight against it, and it's holding up good. But that's not surprising. This thing is a monster. BK-3. Okay, guys, I've got all my weight pulled against it, and I'm pulling on it. This is a stout little guy. QAB, Ontario Knives. Not going to really be able to probably get enough to test it, but we're going to see. Yeah, it bends just a little bit, but just gives, but it doesn't bend it. Staying straight. Ontario Camillus, I can tell you right now, that is not gonna end well. All right, guys, we spent the day with these knives, using them pretty hard. The Q.A.B. by Ontario Knives, the finish is excellent, actually. Cleaned up very well. BK3, we have some wear right here, and just a little bit of just wear here and there. It looks like a powder coat finish, and but you know, not anything. The knife held up extremely well. Then the SP-8. Definitely got some scuffing here, and it was covered up by just dirt and debris, and there's a little bit of wood that's impregnated. There was a lot of wood impregnated in both of these. I got most of it out. I just couldn't quite get that out, but we'll see if we can get that out. You can see the finish on there. I mean, it did lose a little bit of its finish. Then we have the Camillus Carnivore. Looks like it held up well. There's some staining, but I could probably get that off if I tried a little harder. But this is, again, a titanium bonded coating, so it held up very well. Okay, guys, I did learn a few things today. One big thing is that the Camillus is an excellent machete. You know, it'll cut limbs very well. I mean, it's more for outdoors. This is not an urban tool. The blade's a little bit too thin. In fact, it looks straight. The way the camera was, I was wondering if it was straight. Maybe it is bent just a touch. So this is not really made for prying, period. It's got a good, comfortable handle to it. The saw works fairly good. The seatbelt cutter, okay. It was mainly great just to pull limbs out when we were macheting going through the woods. The SP-8 by Ontario Knives, a very capable knife. I mean, this thing is huge. It's like a hatchet. And you know, the saw is more getting precision type cuts. You're not really going to get a lot of cutting, but it's wide, so that's definitely to be expected. But I think that this, to me, is a little heavy, too heavy, unless you're really in dire situations, because of it just wears you out using it quite a bit. But you could really pry some things with this, probably over the rest of the others. And so I think that's definitely got some merit to it, a very heavy-duty pry bar type situation. The K-Bar, the BK-3, definitely, to me, honestly, my favorite out of these, as far as an urban survival tool. Not a machete, not really all that great in the woods, but for cutting and for prying and chopping. I mean, it was a really good chopper, did very well with batoning, and so I think this would make a good crossover between all of these. And then we had the Ontario Q.A.B. This is definitely a dedicated pry bar, and we kind of showed that with the rest of the stuff. I mean, it really kind of fell outside. One thing I didn't test were the ends here, but they were only on 2. We have a hammer tip here. These are full tang. This is full tang. But really, to me, my pick as far as an urban survival tool, the BK3 would be the winner. A little bit lighter in the pack. I like the sheath a little better than I do on the Ontario or on the Camillus. So, you know, that's just my pick, but I think if you wanted something a little heavier, the Ontario is going to be good. This may give you just some ideas, very limited testing, but we did do some things with them. And as far as self-defense goes, I would say that these two are really the only viable options. The machete's a little bit too thin, but yet it's possible, at least for self-defense, to keep somebody away from you. But these two would be fairly decent. Even though they don't have the points, they definitely could chop. And I would not want to be chopped with this. I mean, the tang on this is just incredible. The spine, I mean, they are so heavy. And of course, this is, again, just an entry tool. So just some tools for your arsenal, and hope to give you guys some ideas. This is not going to replace a dedicated survival knife, but it would be excellent as an entry tool, as a pry bar to get out of certain situations. I will actually replace my pry bar with one of these in my go bag. Then again, I may keep my pry bar too. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic.